Hey traders, welcome to another recap of my ES trading for Thursday, June 30th, and a fairly short day in here, just an hour and a half or so before I got into some stuff in our training class that kind of kept me busy during the last little part of the morning, and then just called it a day after that. But still a pretty good result. Only 3 trades, but 4.75 points of profit with a couple wins, 1 loss, and even that loss I kept really quite small. So if you're kind of new to trading ES, each point is $50 per contract that you trade. Most newer traders start with a single contract, of course, after doing a little bit of sim trading, but then you can build up the contract size from there, trade bigger position size, and obviously multiply this by the contracts you're trading. So, we saw actually a pretty wild pre-market and overnight that saw some really big swings. It was kind of hopeful, because of that, because of the volatility of the Brexit vote, that we would continue to see some big swings once the market opened, and that there'd be some opportunity for some big profits as well. So when you get in those sort of conditions, I'm often wanting to look for more than just a couple points on my trades, try and adapt to the momentum of the market, the volatility of the market, and expand those targets a little bit based on what the swings are doing. But instead, we kind of tightened up in here. We had a couple early swings, no clear break of the market structure, and that's really important for us. If we're going to trade, we need to see that clear break of the market structure. And so that didn't happen. Nothing really fit according to our trading plan. So just had to kind of wait things out here while we chopped in a pretty tight range. And then once we broke, might have been under certain conditions a decent breakout short in here, but it's something that's going right into a clear swing point that saw some buying coming in, saw some demand come in. So you got to be cautious with that. But took a good short here. Just was looking again, as I mentioned earlier, looking for that kind of break into new ground and looking for those bigger swings. So I was looking for 3 to 5 points on this trade while only risking 1.25. But it didn't happen here. As you can see, came in a little bit deeper, made a push down. Could have had a decent profit there, but because I was hanging for more, I wasn't able to get it. But I brought that risk right in, and because at this point the way price was reacting and being fairly early, it was pretty likely to start coming the other way. Now you'll notice I didn't take a break even here. I lost 1 tick, even though to me this is very similar to a break even trade. But if you look back at a lot of my trades, a lot of my recaps, you'll see that I pretty much never take a break-even trade. And you might think that's a little bit weird because a lot of traders do, and especially newer traders tend to take a lot of break-even trades, usually for the wrong reasons because they're panicked, afraid of taking losses. For me, I kind of realize, even after all the years of trading professionally, that's kind of a limitation for me. When I allow myself to take break-even trades, I often will do it just because I don't want to take that loss. And maybe I'll move to break-even a little bit earlier than I otherwise would. So what I do is instead just tell myself that every trade is just going to be a win or a loss. There's no break even. If it's a good trade and still everything is looking solid and I've got a good chance of profit, then I'll wait for a winning trade. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going to take a loss. And sometimes that's a tick. Sometimes it might be 3 or 4. But I accept that that's a possibility that's going to happen. I'm going to win or I'm going to lose. But I steer away from those break even trades and that break-even mentality, because I find that it's really limiting, and it does cut off a lot of those good trades because of the emotion that kind of gets involved when you allow yourself to do break-even. So not saying that's the perfect way to do it for everybody, but I've noticed over the years I've traded that approaching things in this way really does help for me and helps improve my profitability, and seems to help for a good number of traders that I've worked with as well. But from there, once we pushed up, we had a nice structural break, some good momentum. So just basically trading off the zone in here, a little bit aggressively because it was a pretty aggressive break. Good W pattern going on in here. And then from there, we kind of entered into this chop. So a little bit uncertain in terms of how things might react as we tested back into that. So it had limited profit potential, not really something I wanted to get involved in. So I had to kind of wait for things to test again and find some more buying, push up into another structural break that had some really good momentum and a good opportunity to hang for some more profit. So I was maybe a little bit quick here taking that profit off the table just because we were struggling to find follow through on some of these moves, as you can see. Probably should have hung on to this one because it was a bigger move, but no real harm done. Still a very solid profit for 3 points on that. Even if I could have had, 4 or 5. In here, as I mentioned before, I was kind of focused on some questions with some of the students that I'm working with, so missed what was potentially an advanced, trading situation with the market being a little bit extended at this point. So definitely a little bit riskier, but something that probably in hindsight, I think probably I would have tried to trade if I wasn't kind of splitting my focus, splitting my attention a little bit at that point. But I was pretty happy with that result, and I've had a couple other pretty good days this week so far for Tuesday, Wednesday. So didn't really see too much reason to keep trading. It was running up into an area that was pretty major that I didn't want to trade around that. And so was just happy to call it a day basically right there with that 4.75 points. So hopefully you guys had a solid day as well. A little bit of a choppy market here, but definitely some profitable opportunities if you're focused on the structure and momentum of the market. And so hopefully you guys did well. And see you in the next recap for tomorrow.